everyone. So I tried to do an intro outside where I was actually doing stuff, but it's much too windy. You guys could not hear a thing I was saying. So we're going to do a redo here. And today what we're doing, as you guys can probably tell by the thumbnail and the title, we are making some dandelion jelly or dandelion jam. I'm not sure which is the proper term. I've heard people say it both ways, but I think it's jelly. So anyway, making an attempt on doing some dandelion jelly. Spring is here, they're up in the yard, so went out, picked a few in this basket here, and the next step is to get all the yellow leaves off of that little green stem there. Let's bring you guys along for it. Alright, so I got my kind of spring matching tablecloth here. Totally not on purpose for the video, but it works out. I have started to take the leaves off of the stems here. Maybe a third of the way done from what I had in this basket. I'm sure you guys probably can't tell because I wasn't able to show you guys when the basket was full because I thought I had good footage. Turns out I didn't, so that's unfortunate. But yeah, this is what we got so far. Got to do the rest of this basket, and then I believe the step after this is going to be making some tea. Alright, now after a much greater time than I thought this would have taken, we have a full bowl of mainly just the yellow leaves. Now it's time to make our tea. Okay, so for our tea we will need 2 cups of our dandelion flowers and then 4.5 cups of water, and that's all going into a saucepan to be heated up. Got it in our pan here. We're going to bring this up to a boil and then let it sit for an hour. We have our boil. Now we shut it off and let it rest. Okay, so as you can see, there's still steam coming off here. I have occasionally been turning the heat back on to keep the heat up. I'm not necessarily sure if you're supposed to do that. The directions that I'm following for this recipe don't say to, but I felt like I should, so I did keep the heat ups, and it's now been an hour, so now it's time to strain off all the liquid and just have the tea left. Alright guys, don't mind the cramped fridge with all the mess, but this is what we're left with. I think I simmered it too long because it was not supposed to be this dark, but it should still be okay. I need to re-strain it again. If you guys can see, there's still some dandelion pieces in there. I'm gonna have to use a finer mesh strainer. I did use a pasta strainer. Obviously that was not small enough, so we're gonna have to try again, but we'll get it. And the next step here is to put it in the fridge and let it chill. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to try and find a different set of directions that gives me a set amount of time. The only thing that I saw was that you could not let it chill longer than 24 hours. But I imagine you just have to get it to be about whatever temperature your fridge is set at, and then you're fine. I don't think there's really a set time. It just can't be hot, I guess. But I don't know. Don't take my word for it, I guess. But I guess we'll know if this works or not. So either way, we'll figure it out. It's the Midwest Survivor we're talking about here. I'm not a professional chef. Things could go very bad, and I'll let you know if they do. We'll see you on the next step. Alright, I've let this chill for a couple hours in the fridge. Now it's time to take it out and get the rest of this dandelion out, and we can start making our jelly. Alright, we got a better, smaller strainer now. Got everything out. Now it's time to make the jelly. Don't mind the wind sound if you guys can hear it. I've left the windows open. But our tea goes into our pot, and then we add 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. 1 and 2. Mitzi mitzi. In a separate bowl goes 3 cups of sugar. 1, 2, and 3. Now we take a 1/4 cup of sugar from the bowl that we just made, and take it into yet another new bowl. Now we take our pectin powder. This happens to be the kind that I'm using for this recipe, and we add it to our 1/4 cup of sugar. Mixy. Now we add our pectin and sugar mix to our tea and lemon mixture. We stir, and then we bring this up on high heat to a rolling boil. Mixy. Alright, we've mixed together. Now, we light the stove on high heat, and we stir constantly until this thing is brought up to a rolling boil. Okay, I'm gonna have to film this now because I won't be able to film it later. So once this is up to a rolling boil, you will take the rest of your sugar, add it all in at once while continuing to stir. Once the sugar is added, you will then bring it up to a rolling boil again and boil for exactly 1 minute. Then immediately after that 1 minute, you take off the heat and pour into your jars. I will just be using some Tupperware this time. I don't have jars, but the same principle applies. And there you have it. We have our jelly into our Tupperware, and now we let it cool down. Alright guys, so it's the next day. Hopefully you guys can see. Our jelly set up nice. Try to move it around so you guys can see it better. And we got a nice golden color there. Time for a taste test. It's got a very interesting flavor. Kind of bittersweet. Kind of bitter at first with a sweet aftertaste. It's different. Never had anything like it. This is my first time trying dandelion jelly. It's my first time making it. All in all, this turned out very well. It's a very easy recipe. If I do it again, though, I'm definitely going to half or quarter this recipe, because that made a lot more than I thought it would. But it turned out great, and it's cheap. I guarantee you, buying this much, like if you went to a farmer's market and found some dandelion jelly, I guarantee it wouldn't be as cheap as going out in the yard and picking some and making it yourself. But yeah, all in all, this worked out pretty well. I'm pretty happy with it. Maybe you guys should try it yourself. But this is it for this episode of Cooking with Midwest. And if it's your first time here, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next video.